Hi, everybody. I'm Tim White, along with politics editor Ted Nesi, and our head is spinning right now with a bunch of numbers because we just got out of the budget briefing for Governor Gina Raimondo's budget proposal for fiscal year 2021. And Ted, for better or for worse, this budget hit a milestone.
$10 billion
with a B.
With a B. The governor's aides always roll their eyes because they say, oh, what's the difference between 9.9 billion and 10.1? But there's something, there's a milestone there. There's something symbolic about hitting $10 billion. And of course, we should say about $3 billion of it comes from the federal government. The rest usually generated here.
And you and I could talk about for hours about everything that's in the budget. I wanted to highlight a couple of things that stood out to me. Once again, legalization of recreational marijuana is in the budget, but unlike last year, which it failed, she estimated $6 million in revenue, this time more than $20 million, and that presents a bit of a problem.
Yeah, it's an interesting proposal. It's very different from last year's. Our colleague Steph Machado has been looking into it closely, and it's modeled on the liquor stores in New Hampshire, where they are state-owned and they control everything and they split the revenue. And yeah, she wants a lot of money from that. As we know, they've said it on Newsmakers, Speaker Mattiello and Senate President Ruggiero have no interest that we can see in legalizing marijuana this year. And what that means is that's a $20-something million hole they need to fill in the legislature, right, because they're not going to take her revenue proposal, which is marijuana, so they got to find something else.
Well, the Speaker can't be happy about that, and he certainly won't be happy about this one, his beloved car tax phase-out. Remember, he promised on the campaign trail within 5 years your car taxes would be gone. This budget, again, proposal calls for that phasing out in 10 years from now.
Yeah, it's 10 years. I think year 11 is when it's finally gone. And look, the governor's aides say, hey, this is a very expensive thing to put the entire statewide car tax bill from on individual car owners onto the state budget line. It's $200-something million. They've plowed about $100 million in so far, but this was supposed to be the last couple of years, and it gets higher and higher and higher. And they're saying, we're still giving you a plan to phase it out, but it's hard to see Speaker Mattiello, being willing to do that. So that's another hole to fill, because if he wants to put the money back in to do it faster, he's got to find something else to cut for that.
The governor and the speaker at odds already, and there's just getting going. Ted, finally, when can people at home expect to know exactly what the budget's going to look like?
Yeah, so this is governor's proposed budget, which is important. This is for the fiscal year that starts on July 1st. So the fiscal year goes from second half of the year into the first half of the next calendar year. We're going to see the finance committees in the House and Senate do a lot of hearings. They'll take testimony. If you want to testify about something, you can go up to Smith Hill. You can email your reps and senators on how you feel. But then in May, they'll get the new tax revenue estimates. They'll get the new Medicaid estimates. That'll give them kind of final numbers, and that's when the real bargaining begins behind the scene between the governor, the Senate president, and the House speaker. Usually we have a budget by the end of June.
Ted Nesi has a great breakdown on what you need to know from the budget here on the website. We also have Eli Sherman and Steph Machado on the case, so make sure you comb through WPRI.com to learn everything about this budget proposal.